Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I have another interesting chat with you today on 3D interference. Today, I'm going to talk about Blackbox technology and mirrors. For those of you that didn't see the last one that I did, the first of the series, I have started a series on 3D interference and just some components of my newest book that just came out called Starseeds and the Great Awakening. It's available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. And it's a compilation of session notes from the past 5 to 10 years. And it goes over a variety of topics: 3D interference, the Great Awakening, high frequency children, and disconnecting from labels. And it's got a lot of interesting information. And so I decided to do a brief series on the book itself, where I go over components of it in these little brief videos to help people get tidbits of information at a time. So perhaps it's not that overwhelming for them. So today I want to talk about the Blackbox technology and the mirrors. Now, Blackbox technology is just a name that was given to me to describe what it is. But I don't really know if there's an official name for it. Maybe there is, but this is what I call it. So the way I first heard about it is through two sessions with children. There was one session with a young girl that was a preteen girl, and her mom contacted me for a session because her daughter was terrified of the television, and she would always cry and point at the TV from the time she was a young girl. As she got older, it was less intense, but she was always curious about it. And so when I did the session with her daughter, I consulted with her higher self. And what I discovered is that she was showing me that there are portal systems that the TV creates. So any TV that we have in our home or in restaurants or anywhere that we see in public, they are portal devices that transmit signals, and they create these portals, these vortexes of energy that open up and create portals where entities can come through. So now it's nefariously used. So it's low vibrational entities and beings, demonics, that come through in order to have access to us in our homes, but also in bars and restaurants that have TVs and things like that. When people are drinking alcohol and they have a buzz going on and they're drunk, and these entities are coming through, and then they're attaching to people. So in the home, what they do is they come through the TV portals. As the technology, this has been around for a while. I don't know exactly how long it's been around, but the technology is only getting stronger, only getting better, especially with the invention of the flat screen TV. For whatever reason, it makes the access easier for them. And it doesn't matter how expensive the TV is. It could be a really cheap flat screen, no name brand, all the way up to the most expensive. So it has nothing to do with the price of the TV or how fancy it is. It's any TV. And I think that's part of the dark players' agenda, is to make it very easy for anyone to have access to it regardless of their income, as so that they make them really, really cheap, low quality picture, so that they can utilize these portals in every home in the world, wherever they can be, obviously. And so in this session with this girl, she was telling me that when the two cases I'm going to share were TVs that are off, but there's a lot more to it. But this is how I first learned about it. So the TVs were off. When the TVs were off in the home, the child would freak out when she was younger, and she would scream and cry and point at it. Didn't know how to, I think, explain that to her mom, and they just thought it was odd. But what she was saying is that when the TV was on and she was watching cartoons, or there was just something on the TV, she didn't seem to notice it as much. It's the times when the TV was off and just black that she noticed that there are things coming through it. Excuse me. I've come to learn over the couple of years of researching this, through my sessions, learning information about this specific interference technology, that it works both ways. So the TV can be on and the TV can be off, and it works just the same. But I think people that are tuned, can see, don't notice it when the TV is on versus when it's off. Maybe that's the difference, because children seem to be more afraid of it when the TV is off. I think because it's black, There's nothing there to distract their eyes, and then they are able to see these entities coming through. So another session that I had was with a boy, and his mom would tell me that they needed to keep the TVs on all the time, every TV in the home. Even if the volume was down, if he walked into a room and the TV was off, he would get really freaked out. And so she would just have them on all the time. And I told her, because I had learned in the other session about this technology that I learned about, that it was still new to me. I didn't know a lot of information about it, but he would see red eyes in the TV when the TV was off. So it's not that he saw a portal. He saw these shadow beings that would be kind of in the, like, it's almost like you see through the veil of the TV, the matter of the TV, and it's like he could see into the portal. And there were the red eyes watching, which are the shadow beings. So any red-eyed being are these shadow beings that I describe as that attack children in nightmares and dreams and in the homes all the time. They are just minion energy. They're not high powerful spirits or demonics or things like that. They are just low on the totem pole, minion energy that are sent out like a hive mind to scare anyone that can see them, and especially prey on children. And so these are the shadow beings with the red eyes that are in a lot of children's nightmares. But this particular child saw them through the TV. When the TV was off and the black screen, you could see them like watching him. So again, they probably were still there when the TV was on, but he didn't perceive them. And so it was less scary. So those were the two kind of the first foundational sessions. But what's interesting and what I explain in the book is that I had a personal experience way before that. And I didn't know what it was. I never talked about it. It's kind of an embarrassing situation. And I'm not going to get into detail right now, but you can read it in the book. And I've shared it in a few, not in a few, in one recent conference. I kind of talk about it with the audience. And basically what happened is I was on vacation and in an altered state of consciousness. And I saw in my hotel room the TV portal, and it was very traumatic. I didn't know what it was, never seen it before, had no idea it existed. And these demonics were coming out of the TV, taunting me, scaring me, saying some very disturbing things. And I was almost basically paralyzed. I couldn't move and tell my husband, who was next to me. And the TV did morph into a portal. It wasn't a box anymore. It wasn't this rectangular box. It was literally like it morphed into a circular energetic vortex that didn't have a true shape. It wasn't like a sphere. There was layers and depth to it. And what was scary about it is when I saw that these beings were flying through it, it was like an access point, and they were coming into my room, and I was looking around, and they're flying around, and I could hear them, the screeching, scary sound. I could smell them, and they were very scary. And they said some disturbing things, showed me disturbing things, and I was like, "What is going on?" I never told my husband. I told my husband like 9 months later because I was so freaked out. I never told a soul. I literally didn't tell anybody because I was like, "What happened to me? What was this?" So when I first learned about the session with the girl, I knew. I was like, that's what that was. It was validating for me that I wasn't going crazy myself. And then I felt more brave sharing it with other people. I started talking to people about it, and then I learned a lot more. And then I started having more sessions where I would get the information, like children would tell me. So what is it exactly? The flat screen, and even the older ones still work. They're just not as efficient, I guess. They're not as powerful. But as long as the TV is plugged in to your home in somewhere, as long as it's plugged in, it doesn't have to be on. It works. So for it to be deactivated, as far as I understand, it has to be powered down. Like it has to be unplugged, and then it doesn't work. Or if it's in the box or on the floor and you don't have it activate, like it doesn't work. From what I understand. It also works through your phones, your tablets, monitors, computers, anything with a black box that's like a flat screen. They can create. So even the computer I'm looking at right now can have one anywhere around the world. Again, doesn't matter how expensive it is, how nice, what brand you get. They're all the same. So what it is, why do they do that? They do that so that they can have access to the best access they can have, they do have to us, is through dream space, because we are all astral in the dream space. We leave our bodies connected to our, tethered to our soul line, our silver cord. It has lots of different names. But we go out and we travel and we do things. Some of us are warrior spirits and we're out fighting the demonics and helping children and doing all of these things. Others of us are students and we're learning and we're consulting with our soul family and we're learning healing techniques. And so the possibilities are endless when we are in the dream space, but that's where they generally can attack us the easiest. Nightmare on Elm Street, true story, true, not story necessarily, but it's that concept is very real. So we inadvertently, just like everything is inverted, and we're constantly giving our consent inadvertently without knowing it, based on our actions. So when we go see these movies where they reveal things that they're doing to us through these movies, our consent is us going and watching the movie and like, oh, they're not doing anything about it, they're not saying no, because they make it seem fake and we don't know any better. So that's how we consent. So the same thing goes for the TVs, the phones, everything. If we have them, we buy them, we are consenting. It doesn't matter if we know what's going on. Purchasing them, putting them in our home, activating them is the consent to them. It's not right, but they don't play by the fair rules. And so you don't need to get rid of the TVs. You don't need to smash them in or do anything like that. I've had people tell me they've covered the TV and they've done all these crazy things. They've gotten rid of them. You don't have, I mean, you can, but that's obviously in this modern day world, it's really challenging to just say, okay, I'm completely cutting off from all devices across the board. I mean, I doubt there are that many people that would do that. A lot of us need the computers for work and for various things. I mean, I certainly use mine for this format and many other things. And so I'm not going to get rid of it, because technology is used for good too. We can use it for positive reasons. So we don't want to just chuck it to the side if we don't want to. So what you do is you just simply say that, just like in my previous video. And for most of what I'm going to tell you, the ending of the video is always going to be the same. The way you combat it is raise your frequency through grounding, self baths, practicing discernment, forgiveness, working on yourself, self-love, a lot of different things. But really, at the root of it is, I know this technology exists and I do not consent. So you close your eyes and you think about all the technology you have, all your phones, your kids' phones, the TVs in your home, the monitors, the tablets, those types of things. And you say, I do not, in your mind or out loud. Again, I talked about the reasons why in the last video, why you don't have to say it out loud if you don't want to. And you say, I do not consent to this technology. I do not consent to open portals in my home that are not serving my highest good. I do not give consent to any entities or beings or energies or anything that does not align with my highest good to come through the portals of the televisions or the black box technology in my home or anywhere that I go, in a restaurant or a bar or anything like that. You simply put your foot down and you say, I do not consent. Because once you say, I do not consent, then they're not allowed, they don't work. The portals are deactivated and they can't work. So you can also strengthen that you can use crystals, you can put shungite around the TV, you can energetically grid it as well by visualizing that all of the TVs and phones and everything are in a sphere of the violet flame. You can visualize that there's a mirror reflecting inward. So like if the portal is here and there's things coming out the front and the back, there's a mirror that greets them, so it blocks them. And then it reflects backwards. So the mirror works where you create a mirror all around, up and down, or maybe a sphere of ball where the reflection is going towards the portal. There are a lot of, come up with your own ideas. I think everything works, and I don't think there's anything that you can do that doesn't work. If your intention behind it is clear and you're strong in your conviction and you mean it, you can deactivate it. And so you don't have to get rid of these things. That's what you do. Trying to think if there's anything else. There's some other recommendations in the book as well. So again, not meant to scare you with this video, but it is important that you know about it. So all you do is you say, I do not consent. And you figure out ways that work for you, that you want to combat that technology through your intention and then through other avenues. Now, the second one I want to talk about today is the mirror technology. So I learned this through sessions with children who are terrified of the mirrors. And it's funny because I had my own hindsight epiphany when I look back, and I was afraid of mirrors when I was a kid. I used to have bad dreams about mirrors. Of course, the Bloody Mary whole thing, for those of you that know what that is, summoning up this witch in the elementary schools. I cannot believe that all these years later, it's still going on. I had a kid come to my house recently, and I heard him tell my son Skylar to go to the bathroom, and I heard him say it. And I was like, whoa, 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 stop. You don't know what you guys are doing. So it's still happening. But the point is that I knew from a young age, I never wanted to look at myself in the mirror, and I could always see things behind me, and it freaked me out. I never shared it with anybody, and I was very uncomfortable with the mirror. And now I know why. So the thing about the mirrors is they're portals too. They don't work off technology like the TVs do. It's more having to do with the metals that they use in it, and the reflection. There's some other way that it's utilized. So again, I don't have a full understanding of how it works. I just know it works. And so the two things that I'm getting that are the ways that the mirror portals activate, and this is really important because they're pushing this agenda very strongly, is our ego and shame. So there's a reason why they have mirrors in every hotel, bathroom, especially the gyms. Everywhere you go, there's mirrors when you go to places. And we are programmed to have mirrors in our home everywhere. Because if you look at yourself in the mirror in a space of ego and arrogance, oh, I look good, and you're like checking yourself. And I don't mean to say, like, if you think you're an attractive person and you look in the mirror and you're like, you can think positive things about yourself. When you take it one step further, and it's almost like there's this sickness about it. And I know you know what I'm talking about, so I'm not going to explain it further. These are programmed people that are just like beyond thinking that they're attractive and they look good. It's like this weird sickness about it. So if you're strong in ego and arrogance, and your shadow side is activated, when you look at yourself in the mirror, you will activate the mirror portal, and same thing. Entities can come through. They hook themselves to you. They attach, or they just come through, and then they're around you, and they're your entourage of energy, which I think also perpetuates those that are ego driven and love to stare at themselves at the gym, and they're like these bodybuilders, and they just like, they're just like, I don't know, they're so attracted to themselves. It's kind of sick. There's a mental thing beyond it that's a little bit more disturbing than like the normal looking at yourself working out in order to see if you're stretching correctly or doing things or making progress. Again, no judgment. Like, those things are okay, but it's like when you take it that step further and you're just like, what's wrong with that person? I think that they have attracted those mirror portal entities, and then they just attract more and more and more. So the mirror works for people who have ego, very much so, but it works just as much on people who have shame. So this narrative of that's been going on, it just drives me crazy, and it's been happening since I was a kid. So in the 80s. Sorry, my dog's walking around behind me, and if anyone just saw the door to the bathroom open, it's not a ghost. My dog is just she just went back there. Okay. Because I know someone's watching and be like, oh, she's got a portal that activated and something opened the door. That's not what happened. Shame is the next one. So the shame that we feel as a collective, that I'm not pretty enough, I don't look like these models or these celebrities or these elites that, by the way, have exceptionally high standards, and they have teams of people. They don't wake up like that. They have a lot of money to put towards products that are nefarious, which you all know what I'm talking about. Plus, teams of people that do their makeup and dress them and all of these things. It's not real. It's an illusion. It's not a real thing. Normal people don't look that way. But unfortunately, they're in magazines. For when I was a kid, it was the magazines, the 17 and the Teen Vogue and stuff that I would look at and think, gosh, I'm so ugly. My body will never look like this. To today, it's TikTok and Instagram and things like that, where my daughter is targeted, just like most young women, starting at a very young age, when they see these television shows, movies, and these channels, influencers, I couldn't think of the word, that have this beyond beauty. So it's creating this image, this self-image that people have that they will never achieve. And they're constantly trying to be skinnier or have these products, this makeup. It's all creating shame, where we don't accept ourselves as the way we are. We constantly compare ourselves to others. So when you look in the mirror and you're like, gosh, I hate my eyebrows. I hate I want my lips to be bigger. The whole selfie narrative is another shame tactic. It's another narrative that I have always been turned off by. I don't do selfies. I do fun ones with my kids here and there, but the people that are constantly posting pictures of themselves in the bathroom, taking a picture of themselves in the mirror, and all these, look at my outfit today, look at my bathing suit, it's like they constantly need approval. Those people, despite the way they're appearing or they're projecting confidence, they generally have lack of confidence. That's why they're posting so many things like that, because they need validation constantly. Oh, you're so beautiful. Look at that dress. Or again, I'm not judging. I'm not putting those people down, but I feel sad for them because they're living in shame. They are activating the shame portal through the mirror and the cameras, and they are receiving validation. And to them, they internalize that as, okay, I'm good, when we should be feeling good for ourselves, and however that looks for everybody, and what we do to achieve that is different. But the shame of that we emit when we look at the mirror and we're not happy with our size, our color, anything about us, that activates the shame mirror portal too. And then you have entities hooking onto you, and then they encourage you to do more selfies, more this, starve yourself. Or this narrative of being overweight is now supposedly attractive in the narrative. That's a whole other narrative to push people towards being extremely overweight and obese, which is not cool, I'm sorry to say, because of the health issues and the disease it causes. And we shouldn't be trying to normalize that with our children, that it's okay, because it's not. Now, and that's not to say that if you're an overweight, attractive, you feel good about yourself and you're confident, great, good for you. Maybe there's a reason why you struggle with losing weight, and you shouldn't feel shame about it. So you just say, I'm honoring the woman or the man that I am, the way I am. Good for you. That's wonderful. But again, when Hollywood and social media take on an agenda and they run with it, and it's an extreme, we have to be cautious. Just like being very skinny and being a toothpick model, runway model, where they were pushing that as normal. How many people got sick and got anorexic because of it, almost died? That is not okay. It's also not okay to push the opposite, where people are extremely overweight and glamorizing it. Those people, who knows what the health issues that they have as a result of it. Again, the two extremes, neither one are good. So it's just being comfortable in your own skin, and that's it. So if you can land somewhere in the middle, then that's the kind of the ideal space. And the mirror portals aren't going to work as much. It's okay sometimes if you feel like you look really good and you're like, you got a little bit more ego today, maybe you need that confidence for whatever you're doing. You're doing a presentation, whatever. That's not to say you're activating the mirror portal and, oh my gosh, you should be afraid. No. Same goes with, you look at yourself in the mirror one day and you're like, ugh, I do it. I'm like, man, I need it. I need some eye cream or whatever. That's okay too. We need to be honest with ourselves. But it's just that space where you're only here or you're only there, and that's it. That's where we have the problem. So we want just everything in moderation. Just be mindful that there are portals in the mirror that activate based on your shame and based on your ego, and be mindful of it. And again, all you have to say is, I do not consent to these portals coming through the mirrors in any place, in my home or out in public. I do not consent to the activation of them, regardless of my state of consciousness at that time. So you can bring in the ego and the shame too, and say that I do not consent in all dimensions, time and space, regardless of my consciousness or my emotions at the time. And so it is. And you can reiterate that as often as you feel necessary, or you feel once is enough. Again, this is how I combat 3D, is by knowing their tactics, knowing their game, and then we resist it. We change our focus, we shift our intention, we take their power away, and we take it back for ourselves. So black box technology, mirrors are both portals. They work on shame, ego, but also trickery with the phones and things like that. So take your power back, say you do not consent, and take breaks from them. And whatever you feel intuitively is right. So if you're feeling something that other people aren't talking about, or maybe there's something I didn't say today, but you're thinking and you're wondering if it's right, yeah, you're right. So I don't have to say it for it to be true for you. It doesn't have to be, my truth doesn't have to be your truth. And that goes for life in general with everything and everybody. So I encourage everybody to take what I say, and if it aligns with you, great. Take it in, process it, and then do what you want with it and make your own choices. But don't follow me wholeheartedly and blindly. If there's something I say and you're like, that girl's crazy, that's fine. I'd rather you not, go on a public rant about it, and maybe you just stop watching me. But we're all entitled to our own opinion, and it's okay. And so if there are things that you feel that are in addition to this, because by all means, I didn't say everything. There's more, and I'm learning more all the time. It's like never ending. I'm like, oh, there's a whole other layer. I had no idea. But I feel my purpose and intention in these brief videos is to just get your attention on it, and then what you learn from there and what you discover from there. Wow, great. Maybe you can share it in the comments, so you can help us all know, hey, I discovered this whole other layer. Did you know about this? And I might say, oh, I didn't know. Or other people. So we create a community. We talk about it. We spread the news. That's how we get the power back. That's how we create blocks around their technology so that it doesn't work. So that's my intention for today and always. So I hope that this information finds you well today, and you can include it in the last video, and then just add to it and evolve from it. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do next, but I'll go down I have many more to do. I mean, it'll take me a while to get through the book and the 3D interference section. So until next time, I hope that you are doing well, and share this video. Please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. And also give me some feedback on how you're feeling about some of this stuff. It helps me as well. So until next time, bye everybody.